All right, in this lecture, we're going to be talking about highlights and shadows, and we're going to do some examples and go over how to paint them. So let's go ahead, and we have this cube here. We're going to do a cube and a sphere for this lecture. So let's go ahead and turn off that sphere layer so we're not getting distracted. We have our cube layer here. I already have a layer mask made. You just have to click on this layer, and it will make sure that you do not go outside the lines of the cube shape. So let's get our brush tool. And let's start with the top of the sphere. So I don't want to go all the way white, but it is going to be quite a bit lighter. This is going to be the most lit side. Okay, and we're also just going to go a little bit lighter because this side that is close to the light source, we want to feel like it's getting a little bit more light. And so just a subtle shift in values there. That might actually even be too bright. Let's color pick this again. And go up just ever so slightly. That's a little better. You can barely tell, which is actually what we want. All right, then for this side, we're going to have sort of a mid-tone gray that is similar to the background. And we'll paint that in there right along that edge. All right, and then lastly, the darkest or the shadow side. Will be a nice dark color down here. All right. Gonna go ahead and grab my color picker here. I'm gonna go a little bit darker so that we can get a little bit of a transition down here to the shadow side. And then same over here, color pick this, move it just a little darker. Okay, and then let's go ahead and clean up the top of this cube as well. All right, so there you go, pretty simple. We have our light side, our shadow side, and our core shadow where it gets the darkest. Now what we need to do is just add a shadow layer. So I'm gonna take my shadow layer, make a new layer, drag it underneath there. And I'm going to come here, grab a nice dark color. And for this, I'm actually gonna go with a soft round brush here. And then go a little darker there. And then we're gonna go ahead and get our eraser tool out and clean this shadow up. All right. There we go. That's a cube. So that one's pretty simple. Go ahead and take your time on this. Make sure that you make it so that it looks good. You want something that looks three-dimensional by the time you're done. Pay attention to the difference between the values, how dark the side actually gets versus how light, things like that. And let's go ahead and turn those layers off. And let's move on to doing the sphere. So I'm going to come up here and select this circle layer. Do the same thing we did before. We're going to pick a nice mid-tone color to start out with. And you should be able to just paint right onto this layer mask and not have to worry about it. So fill that shape in, and let's start doing these shadows. So turn my brush size down. I recommend using a soft brush for this, soft airbrush. It is going to make this a lot easier, and so you don't have to do a bunch of crazy blending. Then go lighter here, get the lit side. Grab our color picker. We're going to go slightly lighter than what we had. And this is going to be our reflected light on the bottom there. Let me make my brush a little smaller for that, I think. Okay. Get our real bright light source here. And a ball like this is going to have a little bit of a highlight there popped in. So we're going almost white. And then for the last little bit, I'm going to push it all the way white. All right, cool. And then now we just need to create a shadow underneath. So we're gonna make a new layer. Go ahead and drag that underneath our ball. And we will go ahead and pick a good shadow color here. Get a little bit darker. Really start to pick up some of the shadow underneath here. And we'll have that fade out. And then underneath the ball, we're going to get a little darker shadow there as well where it meets the ground. Okay. And then just to kind of help tie things up, let's get a little bit darker core shadow in here. Perfect. There we go. That's how you paint a sphere. We can maybe lighten up our reflected light just a little bit as well along that backside, and especially underneath here where it's kind of bouncing off the ground there. But there you have it. That's how you paint a sphere. So we have a sphere on that one and our cube on the other one. And once you've painted those, you should hopefully have a decent understanding of how to paint all the different parts of a lit object. As usual, post this in the Facebook group to get some feedback. And if you need to do the assignment again, that's okay. One of the best ways to learn is to try something more than once. You'll be surprised at how much progress you make by doing something a second time. So that's it for this lecture, and I will see you guys in the next one.